When preparing for interviews, we tend to focus more on questions around competencies or questions that test our knowledge of the job, which is great. But we need to remember that interviewers are not only looking for competent people. They are looking for competent people with great attitudes, who have emotional intelligence, and who can work effectively with others. This is where behavioral questions comes to play in an interview. Behavioral questions helps the interviewers to know the real you. And sometimes we get blindsided, not expecting them to ask such questions. But interviewers need to know who they are hiring. Beyond the competencies that you have, they need to know the real you. So behavioral questions will help them to know how you act when you're frustrated, what you do when you're under pressure, if you can take praise graciously, and how you react to criticisms, and if you're open to feedback at all. Behavioral questions should not be taken lightly because sometimes they could catch you unawares. However, how do you prepare for behavioral questions? How do you give answers that doesn't position you as a saint or a villain? That is what I will be talking about today. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Random Chat with Bosu. If you're interested in interview related content, career related content, then this is a great place to be. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And before we delve deep into behavioral questions today, I want to call your attention to my last post where I spoke about interview questions and how to give the best answers to those questions. So before we go ahead, you may want to pause this and watch that video or watch it right after this one. I will be starting with my least favorite behavioral question. And those are questions about your weaknesses or failure. It could be tell us about your weaknesses or describe the most disappointing experience of your career. I don't know about you, but I do not like talking about failures or weaknesses. I mean, I move on quickly from failures and I focus on my strengths, which is kind of a normal thing to do. But interviewers will always ask you those kind of questions. And bear in mind, I do not believe they ask these questions because they're trying to make you feel bad or because they're trying to bring out the worst in you. But they understand that in this job you're coming into, you're most likely going to make mistakes. So what happens when you make mistakes? Would you learn from them? Would you move on quickly? And would you be better off for it, right? That's why those questions are important. So you can't say, I don't have an answer or I don't make mistakes. That would make you superhuman, right? Neither can you give answers that jeopardizes your chances of getting the job, right? So you need to find the balance between the two extremes. Make sure you mention what the mistake is or what the weakness is. Tell them what you did to fix the failure or to recover from it. What was the outcome from that? And a very important thing is also to tell them the structure you put in place to ensure that that mistake does not repeat itself. It's like a cycle, like you're real with it, you fixed it, and you want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So for example, if you were interviewing as a manager and they asked you, what is your weakness, and the weakness you want to talk about is probably your potential to micromanage. You don't just throw it out to say, I have a tendency to micromanage. No, you have to say it in a way that doesn't make you look bad, but make you look like someone who's self-aware and who has gotten ahead of that mistake or that weakness. So for example, you could say that I pride myself over the quality of my job and I tend to insist on a certain kind of output from the projects I'm involved in, and that sometimes makes me hold on to administrative details, which was perceived by my team as micromanaging. When I got that feedback, I engaged the service of a coach, and that has helped me become more self-aware. It has also helped me to develop my collaboration skills. What does that tell them? It tells them you're human, you understand that you have weaknesses, you did what you could to help you get better with those weaknesses, and that could position you as someone who evolved for the better from whatever weaknesses you have identified. Another behavioral question is questions about frustration, like when you were frustrated about something, what did you do? Or describe a frustrating experience in your job. That question is trying to test your agility. Like when you get frustrated, do you give up? Do you persevere? What do? Do you get angry? Do you lose hope? Whatever answer you give, make sure that answer shows that you're able to think on your feet, you're able to work under pressure, and you're able to see the bright light in whatever situation you find yourself. Similar questions that tests agility are questions about how you relate with people in the workspace. For example, questions like, how do you manage a difficult boss, or how do you manage a difficult team member? That's also trying to see if you're able to work effectively in a team, and if you're self-aware, if you understand the differences in people and you're able to navigate through those differences. It's basically also a question around emotional intelligence. The first thing you need to do with that question is to stay away from the bitter or wrong adjectives. Like, don't repeat the use of words like difficult or bad or terrible. Stay away from the bad adjectives and try to turn it around into some form of positive. You could say something like, I had an opportunity to work with a manager whose personality was different from all other managers I've had. This manager tends to assign projects with limited deadlines. And what I did was walk up to the manager, explained how I was feeling, and requested that we set weekly project meetings or weekly schedules, which helps me to prioritize better. Over time, I also got to understand the manager, what their requests were, or what requests they might likely come up with, and plan ahead for those. And then I also got to know their style of work and adapt myself to it. Something else that you should talk about is how working with that person brought out the best in you, which is true, right? Working with difficult people sometimes helps you to develop yourself and increase your emotional intelligence. So talk about it, how working with this person helped you to know yourself better, help you to be more emotionally intelligent, and helped you to be a better person. Spin it around into a positive and don't leave it in the negative, because you're talking about a person, right? So don't leave it in the negative. That's all I have to share today. Please ensure you like and subscribe to my channel, and share this with every of your friends or people in your community who are in the job search process, and I am sure this will be helpful for them. I can't wait to hear back from you as well. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this video, and let me know what kind of questions you want me to help you answer in your job search process. Okay, have a great week ahead, and then I'll see you again next time.